I'm this person, Nils-Axel Mörner, and I will speak about the collapsing method of handling the nuclear waste. The KBS-3 method doesn't work. But the DID method provides freedom of immediate action. That doesn't mean that the solution, and I have worked very intensively about this. This is my email address, and if anybody wants some papers of mine, just ask me, and Daddy will send it to you. It's Christmas time, isn't it? So, okay, seismology. You have heard about seismology. That is where you take the earthquake measurement, isn't it? And that is just a few decades, up to 100 years. And then you have paleoseismology. You go back in time by geological means. And that extends the database. And if you, KBS is only considering these things. But that doesn't give you a perspective long enough. So you have to go into the paleoseismology. How do I get? In the Swedish-Finnish case, because we have the same methodology, if you increase the database, seismology have the highest seismic earthquake is 4.8, and historical data about 5.4. And if you go back in time, last 5,000 years, you are up at 7. And if you extend the database up to 10,000 years, you are above 8. But of course, those things will reappear in the future. Therefore, they have impact on the waste disposal. This is the Richter scale. This is the energy, which is a logarithmic time scale. The nuclear industry just considered this database. And when they extend it up to 100,000 years, they get 1 magnitude 6 earthquake in 100,000 years. And 0.1 is 1 in 1 million years, 7. This is really nothing. If you use the geological database, it's very interesting because then you get a completely different. Instead of 1, you get 1,000 of 6. Instead of 1 in a million years, you get 100. And 10, you get even up to maybe 9 on the Richter scale. The energy in the yellow box compared to this one is 1,000 billion times more than the seismic energy in this one. So it's not small things we are talking about. Of course, when after the Ice Age receded from Scandinavia, it was an uplift of 800 meters with rates of 1 millimeter or 1.5 millimeter in the center per day. It's remarkable. In the Stockholm area, it was 0.4 millimeter uplift per day. It's remarkable. And of course, it initiated earthquakes. So we have a tremendous earthquake there. But even here, in the periphery, where we are now, and which we are discussing, we have earthquake in Great Britain, in northern Germany, in Poland, Kaliningrad. Very nice new data there. In Vilnius area, all data which we have to read. Estonia, Russia, excellent, and many other things. So it is an active area, and when we talk, we must understand this. There is a threat to the nuclear power plants. I will not primarily talk about the waste, but let me say a few words also about the threat to the power plant, because people have totally ignored it. Earthquake is not 4.5 or 5 on the Richter, but it is up to 7 on magnitude, which is really remarkable. You have tsunamis here in this region of up to 20 meters. I will show it to you. And methane making anytime, anywhere. That's a new story. Just to show you in this way, I have to go fast. There, this is the magnitude of events within the last 5,000 years. You have 11 earthquakes in Sweden, and they have magnitude 7. Just let us say that that is what it is. Now I will show you the size of the wave of the tsunamis generated with 17 tsunami waves in the last 13,000 years. These are from when the ice is left. But look, all those are of exactly the same geological processes as we are today. The last big one here in the Baltic was at just 2,000 years. Geologically, it means exactly the same time as today. It was 20 meters. Wow. It's about what we're talking in Fukushima. And that is the threat. I don't mean that this is the case that it is like that, but at least it's the threat. So if you make it here, Forsmark is being threatened by tsunamis from here. The Olkiluoto areas really have a threat. Whether it occurs or not, it doesn't matter, but it's the threat which the nuclear power will be completely ignored. And that's, of course, something very interesting. Where should I put this one? This? This one. Yeah, you take it. Okay. So then I will jump to what I'm going to do. A threat from on a KBS-3 high-level nuclear waste repository. Earthquakes, bedrock fracturing, and methane venting. Tsunamis maybe, but I will concentrate on those things there. KBS is saying that they have full safety, and also Kosovo, full safety for 100,000 years. And yeah, that is based on assumption and models, without respect to modern advancements of science and real processes. So what are those? I go here, observational fact. It's important that it's observational fact. Those have models, assumptions, hopes, aspirations. But here we have observational facts, a total revision of the stability assumed, the earthquake scenario used, the respect distance applied, the methane venting ignored. The respect distance is something that they say, if this is a fault, regional major fault, they can put the canister 50 to 100 meters away from it. And I say, no, 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 no. We are talking about kilometers. And I will soon show you why. So, and then there are other things. So the KBS, really, if you consider those modern things, it has gone. Thank you. So, this is thousands of years, and this number of earthquakes. You can see there's lots of them. I have got 59 of them, so it's clear correlation with the rate of uplift. But it's also bumps here, so there, which I just mentioned. Here we have 13 earthquakes in this area in 13,000 years. In Stockholm area we have 14 earthquakes in 11,000 years. In Forsmark area we have 5 earthquakes in 10,000 years. And they claim that they have 0.1 in 100,000 years. So if you have 5 in 10,000 years, how could you have 0.5 in 100,000 years? Why is the mathematics behind that? Here we have 7, up here we have 5, and then you have the big fault lines in the north. Next one, please. So, in the magnitude and the number of earthquakes dug up, you have it distributed. So, a very high. Next one, please. And we have also the frequency, how often they occur. It's not only how high they are, but with pop, 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 pop. That's important. Here we have, within 102 years, we have 7 big earthquakes. That's remarkable, isn't it? And by the way, I jumped one of the slides there. Seismology gives you the whole spectrum of shaking. Historical geology gives you the things which is felt about over 3. But geology cannot record earthquakes unless they are above 5.5, maybe even 6, because then they leave traces in the. So as soon as I have an earthquake, it's above, you can count on about same. Here we have 7 earthquakes in this region within 102 years. So frequency is also high. When there's something we liquefy, when it's shaking so the sediment gets fluidized, we have 1 big earthquakes, and then we have the distance. This is the distance of epicenter from the liquefaction. And this is the magnitude. Those things are measured today. And we are here up on this event. And you see, we are 7.5 for sure. We have this one, which we are sure about, well above 8, maybe even 9. The Alaskan earthquake, which was 9, had this position. Okay. Here is going very fast, because those 2 earthquakes, which are so, it's not just to look at a fault or something. I look at the primary fault, the laterally, what we call sympathetic faults, bedrock fracturing, earth slide, shaking of the sediments, liquefaction, which I just talked about, over enormous distances, strong tsunami events of 50 to 20 meters here, and extreme turbidites. Turbidites is flows over the bedrock over 200 to 320 kilometers. Magnetic grain rotation, the small grains which you cannot see in this, but the grains rotate, so they're shaking. This event was primary thrust, bedrock fracturing, earth slide, heavy liquefaction, strong tsunami event, at least 15 minutes, 30 minutes, extensive turbulence, all this methane venting, which is very explosive. So having had all those different things, you can go from the 10,430 event, you take each one of those, you try to estimate, and it is about 8. And the same you do with this earthquake, 9,600 years before today. The VARs, because we have a VAR and we can talk about. It's certainly about 8 too. And I showed it. This is for the earthquake which took place in the autumn of VAR 10,430. And it shedded a turbidite, a thick bed, over an area of 200 to 300. This is a remarkable event. This is the VAR record. You can poof, VAR, and you can count them. Here it is changed from freshwater VARs to marine water. That is when marine water within a year made the whole of the Baltic marine instead of freshwater. At the side of this, there is a depression. Okay? And this VAR is 10,429. This one is the winter of 10,430. So, when was this created? In the autumn. Going 70 kilometers away to see the same thing. We have 10,438, 10,429. Here is the winter of this VAR. And here comes a slide after the summer. A slide came in the autumn. And then if you go away, 6 kilometers away, you can see this one is okay, that one is okay, the summer is okay, but here is completely flaming. So in all these 3 things, it happened at the same time. A tsunami you recorded by a sand layer. Here in the bars, we know the number of bars, we have the C14 dates, we know that it came here. We have made diatoms, it's microfossils. If it's ashore, it should be what called benthic. I mean, animals which are living on the shore, close shallow water. But it's planktonic. It is coming from outside from the Anschluss Lake in the Baltic. That is one place. And then we go to another place. Here was the shore when this event took place, and we have the earthquake. And that tsunami pulled water over the threshold here into a lake which never had been in contact with the Baltic, and pushed in a sand layer with Baltic animals and plants. So this is fantastic. It even has a fish, which is a relic, which is living in today. But that is an old event. This is the one which 2,900 years ago, right at Forsmark's place. I call it the Forsmark event. Here we can see things happened in the water up to 20 meters below the water level at that time. You have sand layers of very fractured rock pieces, and it's all dated at the same level, and the wave went ashore and destroyed. The other is the normal uplift curve. So we can trace it at least 6 meters, maybe 20 meters above and 20 meters below. This is the 2,000 years ever. It was an explosive metal venting here. And in lakes above the sea, an invention of marine comes in here, comes in there, 18 meters above. And in a bog, peat bog, you have marine shells. And this is a Lake Devon, which was dammed by 3 meters. And underneath it was a peat, and the peat is dated at 2000. And here also offshore. Just to show you what kind of evidence there. I will now move to another thing. This is the called respect distance, which is saying we can put the canister. If they couldn't put the canister according to this method, there is no volume enough to use this methodology. So therefore it's important. If the earthquake happened here at a movement at place 1, distance 0, 1 kilometer away, the displacement at an earthquake of 7, 7.5, 8, according to is just a few centimeters. It's all above, below 10 meters. And if you go to 100 meters, a 7 is only 4 centimeters. So say, yes, we can put it 100 meters away. But then this is reality. These are the earthquakes which we have observed. And here is the one. This is the fault. And if you look there, and here, this place here is destroyed like this, completely destroyed. And it's 12 kilometers away, not 1 kilometer. And all this area, you have bedrock fracturing up to 40 kilometers. 40 kilometers is something quite different to 100 meters. Okay. Next one. This is the fault of 10,430 in the autumn. This is the real primary fault. At 1 kilometer to the north, you have an 8-meter fault. 8 meters. They said 8 centimeters as a maximum. I mean, what is this? It is observation that invalidates all these things what you are saying. Next one. This is from Italy. You can see the fault of 7 hidden here, how it displayed. Not at one single, but like a butterfly. But they always talk about one ever, which is small decimeter. Up here, it is even 1 or 2 meters. It's 1 meter, 2 and 3 meters. It's always, the movement is higher here, but the displacement is larger at the surface. Okay, or the shaking. Okay. They also say that all earthquakes follow. If there has been a fault, it always follows that. But look at here, it's always the same. Lot of faults. Why are they there? Because it continues to grow all the time. Wherever you go on the earth, if you know these things, this is the key. Next one. So we come to something completely new. Methane venting tectonics, a novel factor, new factor, which was not been new and not been considered. Recorded at several sites in Sweden and Finland too. The last one in 2000, and that was the tsunami storm. This factor seems to invalidate all serious talk about guaranteed and long-term safety when it concerns the possibility of KBS export. So, if you have 1 liter of methane gas turned by temperature and pressure into a cube or anything, deposition of methane ice here, it is 1 liter. And when that goes into gas, there is no fluid phase in between. It jumps as a phase transition into gas. And 1 liter becomes 168 liters. You understand that it's quite an explosive potential that needs no oxygen or something. It's a phase transition. And that is for temperature and pressure. And what happens after the ice age? Temperature goes up, pressure releases because of land uplift in our countries. So this is explosive method tectonic. Next one. When we have that partly in this 10,430, we have a fault here. Look at the fault. Really, was thrusted up this way and ice came this, because it would have been there before the ice, this would have been gone. This is the escarpment, very, very prominent. Here it moved, but here, 12 kilometers away, this is the place where it's completely disintegrated. There are surface passages of 2,600 meters, caves. And it goes up to 40 kilometers. And there are also evidence of certain centra where it seems to explode. So we think this is the case. The earthquake here kicked methane hydrate into gas. We have other places. We have also stable isotope which proves this. So we have bedrock fracture, explosive melting, and earthquake. The KBS repository will not stay intact in the bedrock for 100,000 years. It's just nonsense, my friends. So, if I make a conclusion, the intensity of seismicity, the tsunami wave heights, and the methane venting events recorded in the late Holocene, this last 5,000 years time, imply that nuclear power plants operating today do so, ignoring serious threat of active natural phenomena. That's one. The two, the long-term storage of high-level waste in the bedrock, according to the KBS method, seems firmly invalidated by modern geodynamics and observational facts with respect to paleoseismic, tsunamis, and methane venting. And this is some papers of mine. You can get them with a stick if you want. And also, I have a wonderful book. You can buy that from me. I will take half the normal price. But I have just a few copies with me because it's very heavy, 1.5 kilo. And that is the kilo. What is, it's inside is even better. Okay, come on. So, we now know that the KBS method does not work. Now we have to do something different. The best under the circle. This is the storage with diet. Accessible, next one. Yeah. No, I haven't worked that much. Thank you. So, this is KBS. We just close it out. Impossible. The other is not a solution. It's just to gain time. And for me, I cannot be only negative. I have to say, what should we do? We should not store them in the nuclear power plant. We have to get them underground. So we get them underground by building caverns in the bedrock. We put several high topography, and we surround it with artificial fracture zones in order to get the water away, so it becomes dry. Dry is much better than lying in the water. And then it's accessible, controllable, but of course closed, very much closed. Next one. And this is what we do about KBS goes into a club, which is a terrible place to put it because it has no secure safety at all. And then it goes down, and there it's absolutely inaccessible unless you. The other one, it's of course full accessibility, and that is whatever you do now. Here we have, of course, we don't know these things because it belongs to the future, but at least we get some time of rest. Next one. And freedom of immediate action, to hell with the KBS method, the place where it rightly belongs. I think to keep the control of free method, it's only by this way. There are other things you could have. Exceptionally deep boreholes, but that's very technically problematic. And it can be done even after it has been stored here. Next one, finally. And of course, the mountains of high-level radioactive waste in the world. What do we do with it? Normally it is stored in a nuclear power plants. That's really very bad. Club offers no safe intermediate stockpiling solution, and NTP offers no safe intermediate stockpiling. I propose, that's a personal thing, but just to gain it. It's not a solution, just to do something, because the other things are dead ends, with very much emphasis on dead. Thank you.
Ačiū už įdomų, gyvą pranešimą, kuris neleidžia apsnūsti po pieto nei kūnui, nei smegenims. Prašau, sekantį pranešėją.